Hello everyone, this is Alex from Swoosh English, and I'm having a lot of doctors and nurses asking me what extra additional TV resources, I suppose, materials, etc. can you use outside of the practice test materials that OET have got. And I think it's really important that you don't just stick to those practice test materials that you see online. The official OET website has got 2 sample exercises, etc. that you can use too. However, I really want you to go further than that and explore what else is out there. So it's not just restricting yourself to that OET test material. So I've got a few television programs that I think would really help you, predominantly in your OET listening, okay, for part A and part B. And you could even take notes as well. So when you're listening, when you're watching these TV series and you're listening to different symptoms that the patient and the medical professional are discussing, the nurses, doctors, etc., try to write down notes, try to simulate what it would be like in the actual examination. So for listening, in the OET listening part A, you'd be writing down notes based upon the symptoms that you're hearing, for example. So some of these TV programs could be really, really beneficial for you to practice on a day-to-day basis. YouTube is your friend. I always say YouTube is a fantastic resource. So whether you're based in the Philippines, you're based in India, you're based in the Middle East, if you can get access to YouTube, you can access medical programs from English-speaking countries around the world. So there's TV programs in Australia, but the ones that I'm more familiar with, being a UK native person myself, is Casualty is a program that was on in the 1990s and the 2000s. It may still be on now, I'm not sure, but check out that program. There's a lot of medical terminology that's used. There's a lot of conversations between colleagues, between medical professionals and patients, doing referrals, diagnosis, things like that. So Casualty. There's also one called Holby City, which my mother used to watch a lot, so that is a big one here in the UK. Holby City, Holby, and then City, City. Check that one out on YouTube. Then there's one that's more famous at the moment called Embarrassing Bodies. So I was just watching one previously with a guy with lots of tumours on his face and his back, etc. So he had different consultations that he had with the staff at the hospital, so you can check that one out as well, Embarrassing Bodies. Then there's also one that's popular now and that's had multiple series called 24 Hours in A&E, and this is set in the UK, so you can see the kinds of patients and the difficulties and the problems they'll be having. You can see the kinds of issues. When you come to the UK, you can see what kinds of patients you'll be dealing with and what kind of English speaking scenarios, English communicative scenarios you'll be involved in. So that is another one, 24 Hours in A&E. That's the great thing about YouTube, the fact that you can access all of these TV programs, whether you're watching them or whether you're just listening to them whilst you're doing something else, multitasking. I say it's more for listening, of course, but for speaking, you'll be able to pretend it's like it's an OET role play. Of course, you won't be getting involved in it yourself, but you can see the communication between a nurse or a doctor and a patient. And even if you want to, practice those scenarios where on YouTube you could pause when you'll play, of course, in the role play, you'll play the role of a healthcare professional, but you could pause it when it comes to the patient, okay, and think about what different, or even, for example, a better idea might be to get a friend or get a study partner to play a different role. So you could watch the scenarios that you see in the TV program, and then you could pause the video and have each person reply based on what the patient says, what the medical professional says. You could play the role of the patient, your study partner can play the role of the medical professional, and then you can switch. So it will help both your speaking and your listening. And I mean, you could do lots of things with these. In some TV programs, they'll even mention the case notes. So if they went into detail on the case notes, maybe you can practice a written letter. So there's lots of different options for you. But I would say the big tip is to watch these things consistently on a day-to-day basis. Okay, it will really help your listening skills. predominantly, but also it could help other areas too. If you have any other suggestions for medical professionals on what kinds of programs they could watch, even podcasts, for example, that might be something that you could look at, but keep it to the English speaking countries: Australia, New Zealand, America, UK. I think there's one called ER in America as well. So have a look at those. Of course, the best ones will be the ones that are actually more of a documentary style. So 24 Hours in A&E is actually more of a documentary style, Embarrassing Bodies as well. Whereas Holby City and Casualty, they are more, they are actors basically. They are, there's a storyline, there's a written storyline, etc. So try to keep to the documentaries, but the other ones are also good. Casualty and Holby City, they have medical professionals who help to write the storylines, etc. So that's also quite accurate too. So it's just about, especially if you're coming from a hospital where you're not speaking English on a day-to-day basis, these TV programs will be a really good resource for you when it comes to understanding different scenarios, communicating between healthcare professionals and patients. If you want to get any more information about OET exam and how we can help you here at Swoosh English, make sure you go to swooshenglish.com. We've got lots of free downloads there, lots of free video lessons for you. So I look forward to seeing you on the next video.